Welcome to the CHC podcast. I'm your host, Julie Fisk. Revenue cycle management is an issue that's always top of mind for hospital executives. Today, Joe Thomason, CHC Senior Vice President of Hospital Operations, and David Yackell, CHC Vice President of Hospital Financial Operations, are here to talk about Options RCM, a revenue cycle management solution that addresses the revenue cycle challenges faced by rural and community hospitals. So, Joe, tell me about the environment for rural and community hospitals right now.
Julie, the environment is challenging. Let me tell you that. It always has been. It's getting more and more difficult for hospitals to operate. You see stats in articles all the time. I read anywhere from 700 rural hospitals are at the brink of closure. That's roughly 1/3 of all rural hospitals. And so it is difficult for the hospitals in the environment today, and I don't see the environment letting up any.
So tell us, how do efficient revenue cycles play into all of this?
So you would think it would be really easy for hospitals to have a revenue cycle process, wouldn't you? It's kind of like going up to a McDonald's, ordering a hamburger, and you pay for it and you get the product. Unfortunately, hospitals are not that way. And we have additional challenges such as evolving requirements that make it more difficult. We have different processes that are required, such as prior authorizations that have to be done. So it just becomes more and more challenging. And the point of the revenue cycle is that's the cash for the hospitals to operate. And so if they mess up, if they are not as efficient or as productive as they should be, it creates cash flow shortages for the hospital.
Well, sticking with that McDonald's analogy, what does a revenue cycle look like for a hospital?
Okay. Imagine you're going to McDonald's and you walk up to the counter, and before you're even allowed to order, somebody has to approve you to order. That's a prior authorization that has to be done, that if you skip that step in the hospital world, you don't get paid. And then just to get the bill out, so if you were going to buy a hamburger, you're going to pay for it. That's not the process in the hospital world. So somebody else is actually going to pay for it. Now, you have paid for it with your insurance premiums or things of that nature. But Dave, go ahead and take the process over.
So when you go up and you make the order, before they'll actually put the order in, you have to be able to show that you can pay for the order. And if somebody else is going to pay for the order, well, then they're going to have to check and make sure that that person has the money that they can pay, and that they are willing to pay for that order for you before you're ever going to get your hamburger.
And now I'm craving a cheeseburger. So, Dave, what happens to hospitals that haven't found a solution?
The hospitals that haven't found a solution, I think, as Joe indicated earlier, really become more at risk as they go. To the extent that they're not collecting their cash as quickly or as effectively as they could, and the cash starts to run low, they extend the amount of time that it takes to pay their accounts payable, which means that supplies or services are either delayed or they're put on hold for things, and so they're not getting them. It limits their ability to acquire capital, so that if they have to have new equipment in the facility to update or upgrade, they can't do that because they don't have the cash to pay for it. And in the eventuality of things, the worse it gets, they could potentially jeopardize their ability to make payroll, and certainly their ability to get either leases or loans, because obviously nobody's going to lend them money if they don't feel like they're going to get paid back. And so not having that effective revenue cycle process limits their ability to be able to do any of those things on a go-forward basis.
So it's just a snowball effect.
It is a snowball effect.
So Dave, CHC has introduced Options RCM. It's a revenue management solution. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. We have developed the service line for revenue cycle to try to help support the rural and community hospitals, kind of meet them where they are. And everybody's needs are different. And so the way that we've developed this is set it up so that we will go in and help them, or if they already know what areas that they need support in, then we're more than willing to come in either on a comprehensive basis and take over the revenue cycle from start to finish, or in the individual places during the course of the revenue cycle that they need the help. And not only can we provide personnel and expertise to do that, but we have some cutting edge technology that we can apply as well that they don't ordinarily have access to in their current medical record systems.
Julie, I think that's kind of the exciting part of this is we're used to working with the hospitals. I get solicited 3 and 4 times a week by new revenue cycle companies that are out there. They may have some aspect of revenue cycle. We actually own and manage hospitals, and those are our hospitals. And so when we're working with the revenue cycle, I mean, we really take great pride, and we understand the criticality of, the revenue cycle. We talked about the cash into the hospitals in order to pay the employees and regenerate the equipment and things of that nature, reinfuse capital into the hospital. So we really understand it and take it seriously, and not that the others don't take it seriously, but we may be a little more empathetic and closer to the end result than a lot of other companies out there.
Yeah, I think we try to give independent hospitals the ability to access the same kind of tools and expertise that the big system hospitals have without having to be a big system hospital.
That's a great point.
So Joe, why is Options RCM especially good for community and rural hospitals?
Well, as Dave and I spoke earlier, we're close to the hospitals. We own some, manage some. We've been around the hospitals. We are in the communities. We see the impact of decisions that are made. We see the impact of performance that is made. We have skin in the game. We understand the aspect that if the hospitals, which are already financially challenged on their own, if they stumble even more outside of just the normal day-to-day course of business and have cash flow issues, it significantly impacts that community. I mean, it could be having to shut down a service line, close the doors. I mean, it could really become that drastic. Man, we don't want that. And I think the folks at Community Hospital Corporation, they all understand the rural and independent community hospitals and know the importance, and we're vested. We're vested in their success, and we want to see that.
So Dave, now that Options RCM has been put to use by several CHC client hospitals, what kind of results have you seen?
We've actually had really good results, and we've been very excited about what the outcomes have been. One of the hospitals comes to mind that we've done a comprehensive business office takeover for them. We've been able to, in the first 6 months of operation, produce 11.5% reduction in their accounts receivable over that course of time, and not because we just wrote off a bunch of accounts. We've increased their cash collections year over year by 6%. We've been able to do a 60% reduction in their credit balances, and we've also had a 42% reduction in how much we've had to write off for denials. So obviously, the work that we're putting into making sure that the processes work well and work effectively are being successful. Likewise, we've got a hospital that we're doing a project in, and we've been in that facility for a little over 8 months now, and we've been able to increase their average cash production by about 3.8%. So again, success in that facility, just working part of their receivables.
How did you move the needle? What made a difference?
Well, quite a few things. Actually, we were able to, first of all, look at the process that they had internally, implement some best practices in the hospital so that they became more effective in what they were doing up front, more efficient in the way that they were processing things on the front end. We brought expertise to the table that allowed us to do a more effective job of billing claims, of making sure that they were clean when they went out so that they were getting less denials. And then I think the biggest thing is on the back end having a denials management software and expertise that was able to trend and track denials coming back from the individual payers, taking a look at what those trends were, doing some root cause analysis on those, and then going back and taking that information and either fixing processes in the system or providing targeted training to personnel either on the front end or mid-cycle that enabled them to stop making the same mistakes that they were making that were producing these recurring denials that were slowing down or sometimes even eliminating payments from being received.
I know when you're working with some third-party revenue cycle companies, and we'll continue to do so, and that's what we do.
Right.
But I have seen you and your team be frustrated because it's the same issue that you deal with time and time again. And again, in some of these large revenue cycle companies, you may be dealing with a different person on every occasion. You don't have to do that on this one, do you?
No, absolutely not. The Options RCM is really a one-stop shop. There's a very small number of people that are leading this charge for the organization. And so when you call us, you're going to talk to myself or potentially one or two other people in the staff, and that will be the one person that you go to all the time. And we have the flexibility to be able to then adjust our business to your business. Again, not sacrificing best practice or the process, but being able to do tweaks that enable us to be able to work as a better partner for you on a go-forward basis.
So, Dave, explain to the community hospital executive listening right now how Options RCM addresses their challenges.
Sure. So at the end of the day, the most important thing is converting claims to cash. The cash is, the fuel that helps the hospital continue to operate and obviously allows all of the services to be provided in those communities. So the way that we help produce that is we bring expertise, people who have been in the revenue cycle for a long period of time, who have specific training in certain areas to take over the responsibility for doing those jobs. We have best practices that we implement inside facilities that are tested. We've tried them in other places. They obviously work. We've got technology that most usually the facilities can't afford to have. And so we can bring those to bear both on the front end, mid-cycle, end of the revenue cycle at a cost to them that they can obviously afford. And we can take all of those things, put them all together, and create a solid revenue cycle system for the hospital that is going to be more productive, more efficient, and more effective than what they currently have.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for filling us in on Options RCM. We got some amazing information here.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited.
And we're going to lunch now, right?
We're going.
Indeed.
Let's do it.